or management.
Come on, everybody, it's time to rise up. We're living in a world and there's some crazy stuff happening. We need resolution. We have the power, we need restitution. First, we need to talk about how to begin. We're all in this together, feel free to chime in. This is Conversation Unplugged. Conversation Unplugged. Conversation Unplugged. Conversation Unplugged. This is Conversation Unplugged.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. You're listening to Conversation Unplugged on WWDB 860 AM in the city of Philadelphia, as well as WWWE, the real 1100 AM in Atlanta, Georgia. My name is Reverend Dr. Wayne M. Weathers, and I greet you here today. And it's just a blessing to be able to unplug some conversations. Before we start the interview with the guest, here's some news to highlight both in Philadelphia and Atlanta, Georgia. In Philadelphia, Mayor Kinney and City Council brace for marathon negotiations to finalize the city budget. That's going to be very interesting. I talked to the president of the Black Clergy in Philadelphia and Vicinity, and he's ongoing having conversations to make sure that whatever the budget is, that it help those who are in despair and not tax cuts for the rich. Also, other news is activists target Republicans in the Pennsylvania Senate as they push for gift ban, as well as Joe Manchin's filibuster drama is shaping an early debate in the Pennsylvania 2022 Senate race, and we'll talk about that on my 5 o'clock show on www.spiritualconnectradio.com. We're doing a series, What's Going On, and we're going to be talking about Joe Manchin and Mitch McConnell. In Atlanta, Georgia, that's reported in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. It says GOP support could boost Kasim Reed's comeback in Atlanta's mayor's race. It also talks about, which is crazy, more ballot review pending in Georgia, sowing doubt in the elections, which is real crazy. Another topic of conversation to be discussed at another point, another time. I want to introduce to you the person I'll be interviewing today, Chlon Rogers. How you doing, Chlon?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. First of all, from my wife and I, we want to thank you for just being a great mentor to our daughter Kayla, who is working at TIG Records. Think it's a game. She started out as an intern and is employed. She always talked about just the way you've taken her under the wing and taught her some valuable business lessons. So from both my wife and I, we'd like to say thank you. And then don't want to get in trouble. I want to
It's
give
actually my pleasure.
I want to give a shout out to my oldest daughter, Jasmine Nicole Weather. She wrote, produced, and sung the intro of the song Conversation Unplugged. So I don't want to get in trouble and say, hey, why you say mention one and not mention the other. Well, great. Let's talk about your accomplishments and everything. First of all, we have some commonality here. You're from Columbia, South Carolina. And
I am.
yeah, and my father's from Rembert, South Carolina, which is about 40 minutes away from Columbia. So my family comes out of South Carolina, our whole entire family, my kids. We spent time with my grandmother, God bless her soul. She's transitioned from labor to reward. So before we go any further, how have you been doing during this pandemic, especially in the music industry? How have you been doing?
I've actually been doing amazing. You know, the music industry is so diverse. You know, there are multiple streams of income. Obviously, some of them stopped because artists weren't able to do concerts and shows and things of that nature. But, you know, music is so much more digital and you have online. And so we just kind of had to pivot and adjust to what was going on.
Wow.
And it's taught us a lot more than not. So I'm not mad at it.
Wow, and it's great just how you've been able to make the adjustments. So we're doing a series called Turning Your Dreams into Reality Part 6. And what we're doing is interviewing those who've made significant accomplishments in their journey in life and really want to talk about your accomplishment because I don't know if people are aware you're a major powerhouse player in the hip hop industry. Being at Think It's a Game Records as the COO. When I read your your information about you in your book. I picked it up, e-copy, and I saw all that you accomplished.
Thank you.
Yeah, I put you on the line of Susan De Passy and Sylvia Rome, and well as
Oh,
Sylvia
wow.
Robinson, which were women in the entertainment industry who were major powerhouse. That time don't get their just due. So I just wanted just to say congratulations on your accomplishments. Um,
Thank
it,
you so much.
yeah, if you could talk about your journey from Columbia, South Carolina to Atlanta, what was that journey from coming from Columbia to Atlanta, Georgia, as you were pursuing your dreams?
Well, to be honest, Columbia, South Carolina is a small town.
Hmm.
Um, there's a lot of violence and gangs and things of that nature going on. So tragedy actually led me here. Um, Initially, I was supposed to go to Georgia State University, but once my mom and dad are married, they've been married for 36 years. Um, my dad went to prison when I was going into college, and so I needed to stay close to home. So I've always wanted to come to Atlanta, but I just didn't get an opportunity to do it at that time.
Hmm.
And while I was in school, a really close friend of mine was murdered, and I just wanted to take a turn with my life. I wanted to go somewhere and do something different. And one of my friends had gotten a full scholarship to Georgia State, and so while I was mourning, I actually came down to stay with her in Atlanta, and I never went back home. Like I,
Wow.
I went back home to do a hardship withdrawal from my classes because at the time I was a junior at the University of South Carolina.
Hmm.
So I went back to do a hardship withdrawal. I had to explain to them everything was going on so that it wouldn't affect my courses and my credit and my tuition. I went back and I did that, and then I never came back after that. So that's how I ended up in Atlanta.
Wow. Wow. You have a very blessed journey to hear the challenge.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the challenges that you face, and many of all of us in life, we face challenges, and how you're able to journey through the challenges and things of that nature. When did the dream start for you in the industry that you're in? Did it start in South Carolina? Did it start in Atlanta, Georgia? When did the dream start?
It started here in Atlanta, Georgia, because when I came here, obviously for a year, I took out off from school and I was just working. But I knew I wanted to finish my education, which I did go to school. I had to go to a non-traditional institution. I went to DeVry.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes I'm a little upset about it because I didn't get to graduate from what I looked at as a prominent university, but it taught me a lot because I worked with most of my professors. They weren't students who had gone to school for a particular subject and then went back to be a teacher. They were people that are already working in those professional fields. So, I graduated. I got my bachelor and my master's, and I started working and I got it in accounting. And so I met who is today my fiance,
Hmm.
and he was working in promotions, and I was doing accounting. And so, obviously I started to work on the back end. I would work at, handle the money at the door and, the nightclub and all the parties and counted up ticket sales and everything like that. And we were booking artists and we started to sign artists. And at the time I was working in corporate, but I didn't want to, but I had no idea exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't know that there was in the music business, we always see that first layer. We see the music videos, we see the fun, we see the clothes. What we don't see is that these artists have a full team behind them that's working for them and projecting them to that next level. And even a professional team, from business managers to attorneys to accountants to tax preparers, like they need all of these things. And the more I got involved, I was like, hey, this is what I want to do because I get to be around music, which I love, and I don't have to dress up every single day. I can be very non-traditional, and I can be myself and work with my people and actually help my people and educate them on financial literacy. So that, it's not something that I knew that I was going to do. Like, I feel like God led me to it, and I actually fell into it.
Wow, wow. Great journey. Wow. So since you being in the hip hop industry and everything, you've seen just the evolution, and I'm dating back time. Hip hop is part of my generation, definitely, and I don't say that in a generic way. When it first came out, I can remember FM radio wouldn't even play hip hop music. We used to have to listen to it on AM radio station, and it was hard, like in the wintertime, because daylight savings time. So when the sun went down, so there go the frequency, and then I've seen it evolve from AM radio station to now FM. And I remember when MTV wouldn't even play hip hop videos, and now not only MTV, but then the emergence of BET and all others. Now we're digital and things of that nature. Can you just talk about how you've witnessed the evolution of hip hop music since you've been into the industry?
Yeah, of course. So, when I came into the industry, obviously hip hop was being played on FM radio. It started like 10 years ago. But we were doing CDs. We were like really in the streets, like passing out CDs, traveling, putting up posters and things of that nature. But now things are going so much more digital.
Mm-hmm.
So now all we have to do is upload music into a distribution system, and it spreads globally. You know what I mean? A reach that obviously we didn't have previously, because we only had reached as far as we could get, and then we had radio.
Mm-hmm.
So I see that it has so much more from that perspective, and also just how influential hip hop is as a whole on the music industry and all genres of music.
Mm-hmm.
Hip hop is the driving influence and creator for everything. So they're planning everywhere. You have country, you have pop, and all types of music that are mimicking the culture of hip hop, incorporating it into their music styles, incorporating it into their fashion. So and this is something that I've seen change a lot, and also even the content of music has changed. It used to be more so like a dance culture. Music is becoming a lot more different now, and I think it's because like the kids are interested in different things, because now you have YouTube, you have TikTok, you have Snapchat, you have all these different social media platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just changing the dynamic of music, and also changing the trajectory of what talent is. And so, and then you have influencers, so that it's no longer the music industry, it's the entertainment. It's no longer the music business, it's the entertainment business.
Wow.
It's all entertaining. So that's how much I've seen hip hop evolve over the last few years. It's not about the music anymore. It's how entertaining can you be.
Wow. And so before we go to a station break, you are the COO of Think It's a Game Records. And can you explain just your role and responsibilities as the COO?
Absolutely. My first role and responsibility, obviously, is because, this entity, I actually started with this company when we started from the ground, when we were just a bunch of kids who stumbled upon the music industry. We got our first record deal our first joint venture with Trinidad James. It was a multi-million-dollar deal. We knew all, like I said, the surface level things, but we didn't know until we got into music that, oh wow, there's music business. You know what I mean? There's a business side to this, and we learned that really quickly. So with operations, and then we also learned that you had to hire a team, that there had to be systems, and there had to be policies and procedures, and so many different things that needed to be incorporated. And we realized how important that was. And so my role here, which we've built so much over the years and we've expanded, but my role first and foremost is to be a leader to my team. Being able to actually pour into the people on my team, because this is a part of my legacy. Like, I'm going to be a part of their story. I've had my story, and now as these younger music executives are coming into the industry, and one day when they tell their story, they'll be able to say that, I worked under Chlon, and this is what I learned from her. So I would say first and foremost, my responsibility as a COO is being a leader. Another thing is building, because we own our own company, we are independent, we're able to customize systems to the way our people work and the way that we work and the way things are efficient for us. It doesn't have to be traditional. And also, this industry is ever changing. So we're always having to evolve and adjust to what's happening in the market. And it's my responsibility to know. It's my responsibility to make sure that when we sign artists that, you know, from a legal perspective, that everybody's on the same page. It's my responsibility to make sure that all of the financials and income and royalties are accounted for and artists are receiving their statements. It's my responsibility to make sure records are registered so that everybody can receive, you know, the credit for their songs. You have songwriters, you have producers, and you have the artists. So there's so many different pieces, and it's my responsibility to make sure these systems flow efficiently. I mean, it's also my responsibility to make sure that we are continuing to grow. I have to make sure that we are getting people in here who have just as much as ambition as me. You know, and people, just because just because I have experience, it doesn't mean that I can't learn from those that are younger than me. And I always look for different things in people that I feel like they are definitely leadership qualities, and not people who are coming to just work for me, but people who could potentially take my position one day.
Wow.
Because, as I said, you know, we have to continue growing.
Yeah. So let's do this. It's 16 minutes after the hour. We're going to go to a 30-second station break on WWWE 1100 AM, the real Atlanta, Georgia, as well as WWDB 860 AM here in the city of Philadelphia.
They just told us right away that we're going to house you, we're going to feed you, and every single one of his medical bills is just all taken care of.
They've saved my family from financial ruin. It allowed me and my wife both to focus on the most important thing, which was the health and well-being of our son.
We have phenomenal research, outstanding clinical care, and the generosity of public, which allow us to treat patients regardless of what it takes. And that's what makes St. Jude so magical.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Doctors send us the toughest cases to be treated at St. Jude, and our patients come from all over the world.
When we come here, they told me, don't worry, everything's being taken care of.
We could never repay St. Jude for what they've given us.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti.
Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
We're back on Conversation Unplugged on WWDB 860 AM here in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, PA, as well as in Atlanta, Georgia, WWWE, the real 1100 AM. Chlon, there is one of my college classmates, Kenneth Punchy Knuckles. I don't know if you know him personally, but he says, didn't know about your parents. I was born in Spartansburg, my dad born in Pacolet, and my mom born in Union. So there's some South Carolina shout outs here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, going back to the your turning your dreams into reality, I wanted to ask you a few questions here. What process did you use or utilize to turn your dream into reality? Some people are dreamers but never react to the dream. They just keep it as a dream. But you and others, you dream to getting to this particular point, but there was a process that you utilized to get there. So what kind of process did you use, or steps did you take, better choice word, steps did you take to turn your dream into reality?
You know, that's a great question, because I feel like I'm still dreaming, and I'm still trying to, I haven't reached what I feel like my ultimate reality is. But, you know, my process is, or the steps that I always take is always prayer. You know, and what I do is I ask God to bring people into my life that can be resourceful for me, and people who can lead me and guide me, because we don't always know what to do. You know, we don't always know where we're going, but we just want to make sure we're kind of doing the right thing. So one of the things that I definitely do is I try to seek out people who are already where I'm trying to go. And, you know, I seek for their mentorship and their guidance and their advice, and have them and ask them to lead me different places. You know, I write down what goals I want within the next, 6 months, 2 years, and 5 years. And I write down steps and things that I need to do to get there. You know, I keep so many several checklists, because you have to create a plan, and then you have to create a plan of action to achieve that plan. And you can't. There's no such thing There's no such thing as iron team, even in life. Like, you have to have people. People don't understand how important it is for a support system. Like, mental health is so very important. It's important for you to have someone, that can assist you there. It's so important to have good friends. It's so important to have mentors. And that's something that I realized late in my career about mentors, because it's just not something that, anyone ever advised me on. But the steps in my process is usually trying to really surround myself with the right people.
Wow.
And seeking out those people that are where I'm trying to go.
That's so critical. Surround yourself with the right people, because sometimes you can have the greatest dreams, but if you got the wrong people around you, they can either hinder you from accomplishing your dreams or discourage you from accomplishing what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The one question I have for you, many, but one I wanted to ask is when you talked about how you seek out people to try to get where you go and you set goals somewhere along the path, all of us, when we are attempting to turn our dreams into reality, we get hit with those twins, fear and doubt. And so the question that I wanted to ask is how did you overcome, or how do you continue to overcome fear and doubt when you are traveling this journey of life or implementing the dreams that God has given you?
I mean, I go back to that same thing with the people around you and your friends. And I have a super dope family, but I have a group of friends. We've been friends since elementary school, and we have this group chat, And whenever we get discouraged, we have committed to speaking to one another and supporting each other, and making sure we're lifting one another up. Because what I have realized is that I have achieved a lot of things, and I have seen results. Even when I think back about times when I didn't feel like I was praying hard enough, I realized that God was always there with me, no matter what. And so you can't take too much. It's okay to get in your feelings sometimes and feel that way, but you just can't stay in there that long. And you have to have someone that you can confide in, someone that's going to support you and lift you back up, because it's hard. You just can't do it by yourself. So whenever I've gotten discouraged, I have that support system. And I know a lot of people don't have that, but I would suggest really seeking that out, because it really helps a lot with having the right people and the right support system, especially when getting discouraged. Like, we all need someone to pour into us, because some of us pour into a lot of people, but even when you pour into a lot of people, you still need somebody that's going to refill your cup. And so I think that all of these things are aligned when I say that, the right people are going to be a huge foundation for a lot of things in our lives.
Well, so we get some feedback on my Facebook page here. My wife, Reverend Benita Weathers, and church member Ebony Griffin Robinson, they are so elated over the comment you made. Surround yourself with the right people and make a plan of action. And Ebony says the same thing, surround yourself around the right people is a must. So they are definitely in agreement with you. Christina McLean out of North Carolina just says blessings, things that you're saying that's just inspiring. And I miss when Tracy, my classmate, Tracy Spence, also Tracy Johnson Spence. She's out of Atlanta, Georgia. She just said amazing, just your journey and everything. So I just wanted to give those shout outs as well. In this journey, I know we all deal with discouragement. And so I wanted to just talk to you about, I know you have people that encourage you in the process. So let me take that a step further. In this journey, especially, you being, the accomplishments that you've made in the area of hip hop, I know some may not have tried to take you seriously. I don't know. Let me take that back. Theoretically, some may not have tried to take you seriously. And then being an African American female, I know that there are double barriers where women face chauvinism and sexism within a profession. But then when you're African American, you face the double barrel of the chauvinism. It's at times racism, etc. How were you able to maneuver around these iceberg of challenges in this particular industry or in corporate America, period, in your journey of life?
Well, yeah, obviously it has been difficult. It's very difficult being a woman of power in a male-dominant industry. But the one thing that kills all of that is results, because they cannot deny your results. They cannot deny what you've accomplished. They cannot deny your wins. You know, and I tell my girls here this every day, because they all get discouraged, and they all have different personalities, and I always tell them, you know, no matter what anyone has to say about you, like, you kill that with results, you know, because people can't take away those things from you. They can't take away who you are. They can take away what you've done, and you can't control what someone says, but you have to be able to, like, drown those things out to continue to rise and continue to emerge. And you got to be close to the people that are supporting you. And ultimately, you know, the way things work, you will always come out on top. And that's just how it always works. Well, it's a saying, you know, where they say God will set the table in front of the people who don't want to see you eat the most. And it always works that way. You have to stay genuine and pure in your heart, and ultimately you'll always win. But, you know, back to that same thing, it's results always does it. And because I don't think, like, in this male dominant industry, you're always gonna, that stigma is always gonna be there. And I don't even think it's just the music industry and the music business. You know, it's within a lot of different industries. So yeah, people don't have a choice to take you serious when they know what you've done. At that point, everybody else will know that they're just being ignorant, because it's like, we know who she is.
That's a very powerful statement you made, and I'm definitely going to abstract that. They can't take away your results. And, you know, in my line, you know, those who I coach or pastor, I can't say give therapy because I'm not a licensed therapist per se, but I always tell people your greatest revenge is success. And that's how I always live my life. My greatest, and I instill that in my wife and I, we still that in our children, regardless of what somebody does to you. Your greatest revenge is success. Your greatest comeback is success. And so, you know, you just get on the horse and you just keep riding even when you're knocked down. So I love that. They can't take away your results. They can try to take away your skin color, your gender, etc., etc. But once you produce, they can't take that away. So
exactly.
Setbacks. How were you encouraged in the midst of setbacks in this journey of life? And I'm not asking what setbacks, but we all face setbacks. So how were you able just to stay motivated, to stay down this road of pursuing your dreams, etc.? How have you handled setbacks and used that for a methodology of success?
Well, I think that, you know, with the way I was raised, my mother and father, like, the things that they instilled in me growing up, I established a certain mentality that just hasn't left me and will never left me. And I have a very relentless mentality, you know, and work ethic. And so, and I've never really wavered it to the point where I just felt like, you know, so discouraged that I didn't want to keep going. You know, I've gotten to the point where I've been discouraged, but like I said, it's always because of this awesome support system that I have, and I have to keep going back to that, because my family and my friends, oh my God, like, that's my greatest blessing in life ever. There is nothing else that will be able to amount to the amazing people that God has blessed me with, and the amazing family, because they have been able to just give me so much, and I want to be able to give it back, you know. So that's my motivation. You know, there's so many different things that I want to do. So many different things that I want, people that I want to give back to. There's so many different people that I want to just show my appreciation for. And so that motivates me on a daily basis. You know, I want to be able to do something amazing for my mom, my dad, my granddad, my grandma, you know, the different people that have been instrumental in my success and instrumental in my growth. Like, I have, you know, like I said, a relentless goal to pay that back, to show them my appreciation.
Wow.
And that keeps me motivated.
That's great. So this is what we're going to do. It's 29 minutes to the hour. We're going to go on a 30-second station break on WWDB 860 AM, WWWE 1100 AM, The Real, Atlanta, Georgia. It's 1:29, so we're going to go on a 30-second station break at this time.
Everybody, let's go, let's go. Ho, ho. Welcome everyone to West High School Spring Fling. Hey, where we at, stand?
Alright, I've gone through all the tracks, just move through the beats. Do your thing.
All right, everyone, let's hear it for West High's own Brooke Turner, aka DJ Hook.
Scratching at my first school dance takes confidence. So getting into college, I've got what it takes. Okay, I went to the practice sessions, I slept good, I feel good.
We will now begin the test. Please take out your pencils.
I got this.
We're all good at something. Maybe it's breakdancing or skateboarding or video games. Whatever you're good at, you had the skills to make it happen. And those same skills will help us get to college. Visit knowhowtogo.org to learn what you should be doing right now to prepare for college. Start taking the steps at knowhowtogo.org.
I've got what it takes. So do you.
Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation, and the Ad Council.
We're back on Conversation Unplugged on WWDB 860 AM here in Philadelphia, PA, as well as WWWE 1100 AM, the real Atlanta, Georgia. Now, I have to confess to all my listeners out there, I'm being very cautious on what I say because the Sixers is playing the Atlanta Hawks, and I have a show in Atlanta, and I have a show in Philadelphia, and I am not going to say anything to lose any listeners. But under the cover, I may just say, go Sixers. But anyway, all corny jokes aside, we're here with Chlon Rogers, and she is the COO of Think It's a Game Records in Atlanta, Georgia. We're honored to have her share her journey, from South Carolina to Atlanta, Georgia. And so I don't get in trouble when I get home. I gave a shout out to both my daughters, but didn't give a shout out to my son. And I know he's probably listening. So shout out to James Weathers, who just graduated from my alma mater, Virginia State University, a couple of weeks ago. So I don't want to get in trouble when I walk through the doors. You're not only a COO, Chlon, you also wrote a book, Music Money, Every Dollar Counts. Can you share just the motivation, what inspired you to write that particular book? I read some of it. I'm not gonna lie and said I read all of it, but I want to say, wow, it's some deep information, and anybody aspiring to get into the entertainment industry really needs to pick up this book and read.
Yes, of course. And again, thank you for purchasing my book and for the support. I appreciate it. So my inspiration behind the book actually was my clients.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of the time when I acquire a new client, because before I became the CEO, I think It's a Game Records, I started off in my music career with Think It's a Game Record. I transitioned out into my own business called Checkmate Business Management, where as an accountant, I offered business services to my clients, and I worked with entertainers. But I still advise and work with the CEO, which eventually he asked me to come back to be the COO, and that's how I ended up coming back. But my inspiration came from working with my clients, handling their business and financial services, because when we would first start out, they weren't very educated on the music business. No one is when they first come into the music business. They're not educated on the music business, and a lot of them don't have financial literacy. They didn't come from families or those environments where they're taught certain things. And, as I learned and I understood that my responsibility was not only to just help these people while they were working with me, but and like I said, I always like to leave a good impression, because when people encounter me, I will be a part of their journey, their professional journey in this career. So I like to make sure that I educate them, and they're able to learn something from me. So this book, my inspiration for the book was like, man, people really don't know about a lot of different things, and I have this information and I need to share it, not only with my clients, but, upcoming artists and incoming artists need to know these things as well. Mm-hmm. And not even just artists, but new label owners and new managers and, people in so many different segments of the music business. And me seeing that our culture of people weren't educated on a lot of the business side, and understanding that they had to go and sit at the table with these attorneys and business people, and it's important for them to understand how these things work so that they can speak on their own behalf, And so I felt like it was my responsibility to share the information that I was learning, and that was my inspiration behind the book. And it happened during the pandemic when I was at home.
Wow. There's just like in the entertainment industry, this also relates to turning your dreams to reality. We only see the videos and we hear the artist. You know what I mean? And there's a lot behind the scene because for those, and I will require, I'll just pick the book up and check it out. There's things you don't even think about. Show income, and this is in the introduction. Show income, tour income, merchandise income, featured artist income, endorsement income, published royalty income, artist royalty income, digital performance royalty. Nobody really thinks about that. Only thing we think about is just the artist. And I remember trying to break to the hip hop game in the early 80s, unsuccessful, well, mid 80s, let me take that back, unsuccessfully to be exact. But if I did break in, I would have been at a disadvantage because I didn't know anything about all of these subjects that you are talking about. And then you hear the stories later down the line of those artists now who basically have no rights to their music or made a whole bunch of music but never been able to reap any royalties from it because they didn't know the game when they went into to it. So
Right.
yeah. So with do you have any other books that you may be writing in the future?
Absolutely. When I did that book, like I said, I've always wanted to write a book, but the pandemic was just the perfect time because I was home all day. I literally sat in my room in front of my bedroom window and wrote when I wasn't working because it was a time where I was able to sit still. And so I was like, I'm going to write a first edition because that's just basically the business and financial side of it. And that's only for the artist.
Mm-hmm.
There is also a label side to each one of those different chapters as well. So what I wanted to do was do, that one, the music money side of it, and then I wanted to do music marketing as well.
Wow.
And for artist editions, and then I also wanted to do label editions for the same thing.
So one of the questions that I've been asking all those who've been interviewed during this conversation series is how did you avoid your dream from becoming a nightmare?
That's a great question. Because I feel like I have experienced some nightmares while trying to reach my dreams. Like I said, I just kind of I stay motivated. I have a really good, solid fiance who is amazing. We've been friends for a really long time. Like, he's my partner. And it's so very encouraging because sometimes mentally we can think too hard about something or think ourselves into something that really doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And you need people to be able to redirect you to the vision, because sometimes we can get distracted. And I feel like, again, that is just these are the only things that have saved me are the people. It's nothing that, and I also do read a lot of books.
Mm-hmm.
I read a lot of books that relate to this, because you have to understand that you're not the only thing going through these things. There are other people who are experiencing these things as well, and so it's very important that you tap into those people to kind of see what other people have tried to do as well, and find you a mentor. And so, like I said, that has been the biggest thing across the board, just my people, because I get discouraged to this day. Like, I still get discouraged sometimes. I still feel like I haven't done enough or I haven't accomplished enough, and I need to be reminded that you have accomplished enough. Like, you are great, you are amazing. Look, don't forget what you've done. I still need those reminders, because sometimes it's not hard to fall into that place where you feel like things aren't moving fast enough.
So in this industry, as you are pursuing, your dream, and let me say, I admire, those who had just had the tenacity and the boldness to start a record company from the ground up. I remember trying to break into the industry, and my uncle had he was trying to start a record company over a bar that he owned in Chester, PA. That's where I grew up, and he kept telling me, you can come to my studio trying to break into the industry, you could record. But me, it wasn't Def Jam. At that time, Def Jam was just like it. That was the beginning. So everybody was trying to get the Def Jam. But you and your fiance and Jermaine Dupri and Sean P. Diddy Combs, y'all thought outside the box. And let me take Easy E. I forget the name of the label that he had, as well as Dre and others. Y'all thought outside the box. So I commend those who were willing just to think outside the box and start your own company, and be able to, pursue your dreams in that manner. Now, all that being said, this is a very unique interview because most people I interviewed, they were pursuing their dreams. But as you are pursuing your dreams, you are now in an industry where you help other people pursue their dreams. So can you talk a little bit about that? How do you help others pursue their dreams in the industry as you are pursuing your dreams?
And that's so, and that's an amazing question, because I didn't mention that, but that's also a part of my motivation. Like, I mean, just me personally, I just feel like I just have a different type of heart. Like, I gain satisfaction from being able to help others. Like, it's also like, it's almost like watering a flower, like planting a seed and then watching it grow. Like, that gives me fulfillment to be able to see that. Like, that's like my dream, to help as many people as I can, to leave a legacy, for my legacy to live long after I'm no longer here. So, like, coming into being in this industry and helping people pursue their dreams, it's so amazing because we get to see where they come from, and then we get to put them in position to where, they're able to do things that they've never been able to do before. They're able to buy their moms new houses, They're able to do things for their children and provide things for their children that they didn't have growing up. And so it's so inspiring for me to see that happen, and that's just my ultimate goal. Like, that's what we do this for, is to be able to help people pursue their dream. And I think, like I said, my dream is that in itself is just to help as many people as possible. And so me helping them is a part of pursuing my dreams as well, because I just love doing it. Like, it gives me it gives me a certain fulfillment to be able to do that, to be able to help people change their lives and to be in position to do it.
Wow.
Especially my people.
So here's an add-on to that question. So you're pursuing your dream, right? And now you're helping others pursue their dreams. But what has Chlon put in place to make sure that she's not pursuing somebody's expected dream of you that compromised the dream that you're attempting to pursue?
Okay, can you ask that question again?
Sure. Let me word that. How do you pursue your dreams and not get caught up into somebody else's expectations of what they think your dream should be?
Wow, that's an amazing question. I think that one of the things that I have for myself, I just started reading this book. It's called Who, Not How, right? And so basically what the book talks about is not trying to learn to do everything, but finding people who already know how to do what you're trying to do, so that it alleviates you of your time, so that you can stay focused on what it is that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I have to make sure that I'm putting people, as I learn things and I build these systems, I'm putting the people in place to fulfill those things, so that I can continue to be focused. I don't even necessarily know who or what anyone's expectation of what my dream should be, or if I've ever experienced someone telling me that you should be doing this or you should be doing that. I don't think I've ever experienced that, but I have learned the concept of who, not how, to make sure that I'm still able to self-develop and and self-growth, and continue to be inspired and make sure I'm doing the things that I want to do for Chlon as well.
Wow.
So, if I answered your question. Your question?
No, it was great. My line brother, who's my manager, Jeff Hayes, he's out of of Charles City, Virginia. He has a question. We may go over a little bit in the station break, but that's cool. He says the industry is notorious for how women have not been taken seriously as artists and business people. His question is, how has that changed in the current climate?
I think right now it's changing a whole lot because, as you'll see, a lot of women are becoming more vocal, and because we're so much more independent. And what a lot of people may not necessarily see is that behind a lot of these thriving labels and thriving artists, there is a woman or a group of women at the helm of it. And, women are starting to be more collective and work together, which is making us more of a powerful unit. And so we're supporting each other a whole lot more. We're self-sufficient. We're able to fund our own dreams, and we're able to help other women. Like right now, I'm, trying to help my niece. She's 20 years old. She wants to be an artist. I'm helping her to pursue her dreams. And I have here at Think It's a Game Records, I'm the COO here at the label, and I have a team of women. I probably have 2 guys. So the more positions of power that I think that we're putting in, we're lifting each other up. So it's beginning to change because women are becoming more of the forefront, and we are helping each other and pulling each other up a lot more. And I know, you guys may have even noticed that a lot of women and female artists are starting to surface, a lot more starting to surface. Because typically in hip hop, the way society makes it seem as though there can only be one. And so when multiple come, they try to pin them against one another.
Yeah.
But that's starting to, to change, and women are starting to flourish each and every day.
Wow. So this is what we're going to do, Chlon. We're going to go to a 30-second station break on WWDB 860 AM here in Philadelphia and WWWE 1100 AM The Real in Atlanta, Georgia. All right, we're going to go to a 30-second station break.
It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to today's graduation ceremony. Students, when you hear the reason or reasons for your absences throughout the years, please exit the auditorium without your high school diploma. Once you've exited, remove your cap and gown and proceed into the unknown. Too tired. Family trip. Part-time job. Helping around the house. Sick day. Starting the holidays early. Just because.
Starting in the 6th grade, students who miss 18 days or more of school in a year for any reason will fall behind and risk not graduating high school. How many days of school has your child missed this year? Absences add up. Keep track at boostattendance.org today. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
We're back on Conversation Unplugged on WWDB 860 AM as well as WWWE 1100 AM The Real in Atlanta, Georgia. Also got to give a shout out to Reverend Benita Weathers, my wife. We were on a couple of weeks ago, did a duo interview. Her book is really taking off, The Scream Within, basically being a caregiver of a spouse who is at war with depression. And I'm not ashamed to say that I've been at war with depression, but through help and therapy, I am gaining victory. Amen. So I forgot to ask you this, Chlon, in the beginning. You are the COO of Think It's a Game Records, and there are artists that you are working with. So this is a 2-part question. What artists are you currently working with, and what artists have you worked with in the past? Uh-oh. There. Just a second. We have a little technical difficulty, but we are working. This is a great interview that we're having.
Sorry.
Yeah, are you there? Oh.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, so currently, I didn't hear your question though. Currently, I'm working with this artist named I'm working with Wife and Lucci. I work with Rubber Band OG. I work with Cash Doll. I work with Rollo. He's from Atlanta, Georgia. This hip hop artist, his name is DZ McDuffie. And I work with a lot of producers and songwriters as well, which are people on the back end of records, which are not on the forefront with what you see in the videos, but they are a huge part of curating some of our favorite songs.
Wow. Is there any artist that you or songwriter producer that you would love to work with but you haven't had the opportunity as of yet?
Not necessarily individually. Where I am in my career, I am kind of transitioning into a different level in my career. So my goals and the things that I want to do are changing up a bit. So I want to do more. I want to work with more people on a high level on a business perspective, and not so much like directly with talent.
Wow.
So there are some executives that I would love to work with. You know, like you mentioned Sylvia Rowan, I would love to work with her. You know what I mean? I would love to do something with her. I would love to even just sit in a room with her. Or like the LA Reeves and, you know, like people like that are people that I would love to collaborate with on certain things.
Wow.
These executives.
Well, we pray that claim victory that one day that's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So I know you've mentored those, you know, my daughter's one. You have a staff that I know I don't know. Let's just say I know you've mentored my daughter, and there's probably others that you have mentored. But the question is, who have you gone to mentor you?
So there's this entertainment attorney. Her name is Bernie Watkins. She's been in the business for, you know, over 20 years. She's amazing, a strong, amazing, successful attorney. When I need to speak to someone or when I need something, I always pick up the phone and I call Bernie. You know, she's one of those people that I speak to. And there's also, and she plays that role on so many different levels, because it's not even just business, because I know that I can call and ask her for advice when it comes to certain situations that I may deal with in the industry alone. And then I also have another mentor, or I guess what I could kind of consider a business coach. His name is Brett Holcomb. You know, he's another person that I sit down with to kind of help me coach through some of my ideas and some of the things that are in my mind, but I need to get them out on paper. He helps me a lot with actually breaking things down, drawing it out. So those are two people that I go to, and, you know, as mentors and to help me.
Wow. So what would you say, this is abstractly, what would you say to, let's just say there's a little girl, 7 years old, 8 years old, could be African American, Latino, someone of a different race, that hears your story and says, I want to walk that path like Chlon to get to that level. What would you say to that little girl that's listening right now?
You know, I will always tell her to follow her dreams and follow her heart, and always do what it is that you love to do. You know, and make sure you always believe in yourself, no matter what someone says about you, or no matter what someone says that you can't do or you can't be. Always know that you can do whatever you want to do, and you can be who you want to be. You know, there's nothing that's unattainable. You know, even the word impossible says, you know, I'm possible. So you always keep that in mind, no matter what's going on in your life.
Wow.
You know, I would tell her. I would definitely tell a 7-year-old, 8-year-old that.
Yeah, you know, one of my favorite books, I know my kids will probably laugh at me, they don't even know this, but there's a Dr. Seuss book I read. I read a lot of books, but it's hard to, someone say, wow, it's hard to believe that you do that. Yeah, there's this book when I get discouraged. And at times, even as a pastor, community activist, radio show host, etc., I get discouraged. I don't know if you ever picked up this Dr. Seuss book called All the Places You Would Go. And
I don't think so.
yeah,
But I really.
Yeah, it's a book for kids, but every time I get discouraged, I pick that book up and I read because it's so motivational just to let you know that there are valleys and pits that you will go through, but there's a lot of places. It will never stop you from getting to your destination, all the places you will go. Final question, where do you see yourself 4 or 5 years from now?
Man, so we have a different side of the business. It's real estate, So in 4 or 5 years, I really would like to see that these amazing ladies that I have on my team, they have moved up into some of these positions, and I want to be able to provide co-living assistance spaces for people who can't afford, for affordable homes for people who can't afford to rent out homes, in which me and my fiance have already started to do this. You know what I mean? We've been buying properties that were previously used as student housing, and we rent them out. We rent out to rooms, and so we're expanding in that realm on the side of the business. And I kind of see myself in 4 or 5 years moving into more of a passive residual element where everything that I'm doing doesn't require so much of my time, because obviously I do want to build a family.
Wow. Well, Chlon Rogers, I want to say thank you for taking the time, for giving me the opportunity to interview you on Conversation Unplugged on 860 AM in Philadelphia and 1100 AM in Atlanta, Georgia. And you reshuffling your schedule, because I think you said there was something that was going on within your company, but you still were taking time, took the time for me to interview you. So I want to again thank you on behalf of Conversation Unplugged, and we just want to thank you just for taking the opportunity, for coming out, and not coming out, you didn't come to Philadelphia, let me restate that, for taking the time to call for me to interview you, and God's blessing upon you and your future success, those you've mentored, interviewed, as well as those who you are basically working with as artists with Think It's a Game Records. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me. I really enjoyed it, and looking forward to even more.
Well, good. And tell my youngest, Dad said hello. All right.
I sure will. She's in the next office, actually.
Okay. All right. So you take care. All right.
Thank you.
All right, we're unplugged. We're going to unplug this conversation now. Thank you for listening to Conversation Unplugged on 860 AM in Philadelphia, as well as 1100 AM WWE and WWE in Atlanta, Georgia. This is Reverend Dr. Wayne M. Weathers. We're going to unplug this conversation. Check us out at 5 p.m. on www.spiritualconnectradio.com as we talk about our new series, What's Going On, Mitch McConnell and Joe Manchin. Check us out at 5 p.m. Take care. God bless. Let's unplug so that we can plug back in next Thursday at 1 p.m. Take care.
Conversation Unplugged. Conversation Unplugged.